So today we're going to be drawing an apple. So follow along to see how I draw the apple using some color pastels. So let's get drawing. So I'm using a regular notebook that I got at my local Dollar Tree. And so as you can see, I already drew an apple beforehand. We're going to be using oil pastels. So these oil pastels are my favorite, which are for Daiso brand, but they're not available anymore, so we're using some basic school supplies oil pastels, so it's easier access for all of you guys to be able to go along with me in this video. So let's get started. So first of all, we're gonna start off sketching the outline of an apple. Usually we will use a reference, but for this instance we're just using our head. So we're just sketching out the basic shape of the apple using a lighter red color from the set. They don't have numbers or like the actual description of the color, so my guess is that we're using red vermilion in the oil pastel. So we're just drawing the basic shape of it, not going into too much detail since we're going to be filling it in with more detail and different colors. Here's burnt sienna, but I changed my mind. So we're gonna be using burnt umber, I believe. I think these are the colors of these oil pastels. And then now we're going with like an olive green color to draw the leaf. So now we have like a basic shape and idea of like where to lay our colors and have like a foundation. So now we're going in back into the raw umber or burnt umber into like the bottom and the top of the apple, just to lay down like the shadows of where they would be on the apple and to like give it some definition before we go in with the lighter colors. Usually we will go with the lighter colors and then with the darker colors, but in this instance I'm going with darker colors. And now I'm trying to create that little spot of like shininess of an apple. In this instance we're not gonna leave it white. We're gonna build those colors, the lighter colors on top, to show that shininess of an apple, but also like how the light reflects on the apple. So I'm mixing some of the like yellow orange and some yellow on the top of the apple where the light would most likely hit it. That way it looks like there's like light reflection on the apple. And then from there we're building our colors like in a gradient from yellow, orange, and then to the final color of red. As you can see, the red and the raw umber are like blending in together, so you're creating a different red shade and making it look like there's depth of the apple to make it look a little bit more realistic. So now we're just blending in the colors, making sure that we have a darker shade on the bottom, and we're just building up the colors to the top. I'm no expert, I'm just telling you guys like what I'm doing in the video, and I just really want you guys to just enjoy the process of my, I guess, building up my skills as an artist. So I used a little bit of pink, and now I'm going in with some like red vermilion back into it to create a lighter shade on the top to make that gradient smoother. And so I'm just working my way up, filling in the gaps with these different alternating colors, red, orange, and yellow. So I'm just making it smooth so it can look seamless and blended. I'm going in with different shades of yellow, different shades of red, and trying to make it so that these spots can really look like they're bright and shiny. So now I'm going with white, trying to create a softness but also like that illusion of shininess on the apple without leaving it white as a harsh white, because that's not really realistic and it doesn't look that great. And so we're just blending everything together, making sure that the apple still has some refinement but also looks kind of realistic-ish. Now we're just trying to define the stem of the apple. So we're going in with the darker colors because usually there should be like a little shadow on the top of the apple to show that crest, or like the where the stem is at. Usually where the stem is at is like kind of brownish and like kind of like dirtyish looking, so that's what we're trying to replicate with our apple. Going in with the burnt umber or raw umber, whatever that brown color is, and then from there we're trying to blend in back that red color. So in the bottom we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go in with our browns and then our reds to create that illusion of the little stem going on the bottom of the apple, and we're gonna blend that up a little bit so that the apple can still have a defined shape. Now we're just dusting off all our excess oil pastel crumbs, and so we can be able to have a good look at where we're standing with the apple, and we can go back in and define the apple at the stem and making sure that everything is looking sharp. So now we're just going with different browns at the stem to finish off our apple. We're using different colors. So here I use brown, and then I use some of the gray to have like a little reflection and like the lightness on the stem. Also, we're going in with different greens to define the leaf, having alternative greens since the light also reflects on the leaf, so that the apple looks seamlessly like this in the same position. That way it doesn't look awkwardish that in one place is hitting and not in the other. From here we're just gonna be defining our apple, making sure that it looks kind of realistic and that everything is smooth and blended. Now we're just picking any color that we want. For the background I use this blue. Usually we want to look at the color wheel to see what colors complement each other, or complementary, or also like are opposing to each other, so that we can make a contrast with the background so that our apple can really pop out. And so I'm just using blue here since I felt like there was going to be a color that's going to make the apple stand out, and it's on the color wheel, since red and blue are complementary colors. And so we're just going in and filling up the background so that our apple stands out even more and making it look vibrant and colorful. Now that our background is all filled in, we're going back in, adding more detail to our apple so that our apple really stands out and actually has a defined shape now that something is surrounding it. So since the light is hitting the apple, there has to be a shadow, which is what we're going into the bottom of the apple using the black oil pastel to create that shadow. And then from there we'll be smoothing out with a lighter shade, which is this lighter gray. We're smoothing out the shadow to create a softness. That way it's not harsh. Essentially the same thing with the lighting. Since we don't want a harsh white spot, we blended it out to create a softness but also a lightness to the apple to seem like there's light reflected on it. And now we're just gonna fill in the other half of the sheet, which is basically the table that the apple's sitting on, with some light gray, and that's pretty much it for the desk. But then here I'm just having the creative thought of like smudging all these oil pastel crumbs without disturbing the shadow of the apple. Since these oil pastels are kind of okay, like kind of mid, to be honest, and so we're trying to work with these So I just thought of it as like paint, so I'm just smudging some of it to make sure it's looking really blended, but also adding some detail of what it will make it pop, and also like my style. I like to add like some blues to my reds sometimes, like just to like give it a different look or like my own style. So here you have it. This is my process of drawing an apple with using oil pastels. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment and like, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this process, even though if it was like amateur. At least this will be helpful for you, like a reference in the near future. And don't forget to comment down below something that you guys would like to see from me, and I hope you have a nice day.